the unit, 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 the unit.
Welcome back. Episode 5, Unit Podcast, back again. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself there while I was watching the intro, waiting to start. I was thinking, imagine if the camera was just on me as the intro was playing and you couldn't see the intro, you could just see me, and I was just here looking at the screen, staying, waiting for it. But yeah, but like, what are we thinking?
Look at that fucking thing. What's that?
What this is one of a kind, limited edition, one of one, The Unit Podcast, Walshunit hoodie. What I got made up. Why can't I show you the thing? Because the camera is all fucked up. But anyway, right? So for anyone who's listening on audio, I just have to tell you this, right? This is what how I'm going to explain. Lads. All right? So yeah, I just said I'd let you know that. So let's get into it, guys. Hello, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? So I was asking last week about what I should call my followers. Am I talking very loud? So guys, I was asking very last week. I was asking last week what I should call my followers, and people came up with a few suggestions. But I think one of the best suggestions that I got was the Unitics. So what's up, you bunch of Unitics? What's popping? Why do I always fold my arms at the start of the episode? What happens is I fold my arms and then I look at the screen and I think, why are my arms folded? And then I'm thinking, sure, I don't know, you folded them. And then I'm thinking, yeah, but why? And then I'm like, you did it. Stop doing it. So then I'll unfold them. And then after a while, I'll just realise that they're folded again. So yeah, I'm just going to keep them. Why don't I just do it like one hand up in the air like that? Like one hand straight clean up over my head. No, I want. But come here, I always kind of start off the episodes with just like random bits of stuff that usually kind of things that annoy me, isn't it? Like, do you know what really grinds my gears? My arms are folded again. Do you believe that? What did I do to deserve this? Why do good things happen to sound young fellas? Good things? Why do bad things? I messed that up. Why do bad things happen to sound young fellas? Anyway, see what happened to me the other day. I went, arms folded again. Anyway, I went to a petrol station while I was working, right? And I pulled over and I filled up the window washers. Was I finished work at this point? Yeah, I think I had everything done and I was just on the way back. I went over and I filled up the water for the window washers. And I remember the last day that I was using them before the water ran out. I was driving and the weather was weird. You know that weather where like it's kind of rainy, but at the same time your windows are still filthy somehow. And even no matter how much you wipe them, there seems to be dirt there. And you're like, there's constant flow of water bouncing off my windscreen. How is there dirt still there? I was just going to say, I couldn't understand it. I could understand it. It's just like one of them days, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I completely left the water run down because I kept on spraying it to clean the glass. But so the next time then, which was the other day that I'm talking about, I filled up the washer bottle and that was grand. I went into the shop. So I went into the shop. Now, I am brutal for bringing anything to work with me. I'm just delis all the time and I'm sick to death of it. I am sick to death of eating crap out of delis. So I went in and I got, what did I get? What was it again? Oh yeah, it was like one of those, you know, those cardboard brown bowls that they have in the delis. One of them, there was chips, bacon, garlic, and cheese. I suppose it was a bacon cheese chip with garlic on it. Yeah, garlic, bacon, cheese chip out of deli. I was like, oh, I'll have one of them. So that was grand. So I got an old bar and bag of potatoes and a drink. Did I get a cup of tea? No, I didn't. So, yeah, so your one says to me at the deli, she says, do you want more cheese on it? I was like, you know what? Throw in a bit more cheese. We can never have enough cheese. So she threw cheese on top of the chips that was already assembled in the box. They were there on display, but they looked fresh enough. So she threw more cheese on top. I said, will you melt that cheese for me? She was like, I will. Shoulder sore. So I didn't say that to her now, but it is. So she said she'll melt the cheese for me. So she put them into the oven thing. And I went away and picked up my few bits. She gave me the label actually to go pay for it while it was heating up. So I picked up my few bits anyway, and I went to get it from the deli. And she says, I put it into another box because it's roasting. So that means she double boxed it so that I could carry it and I wouldn't get absolutely scaldified. So that was grand. So I had my bar and potatoes and drink and the whole lot. So I was wearing my Snickers pants. So do you know the way it had those pockets on the sides? And I just filled the pocket up. So my phone was in there, my keys, my wallet, money, and there was just pockets were full to the neck, right? So what I usually do if my hands are full when I'm walking back to the van is I'll reach down into my Snickers pocket, not a flappy pocket. I'll reach down to the flappy pocket, and no matter how much stuff is in my pocket, I'll just feel around and I'll feel the key and I'll press it and unlock, and then I can go over, open the door, start unloading things into the seat, all my bullshit that I'm going eating, put them in onto the seat and take out my keys and my phone and all that bollocks. And so I was like, oh, there's the key. Started pressing it in my pocket and nothing was happening. I was like, what the fuck? I must be pressing the wrong side of it or something. And I was pressing it. I was like, no, I can feel it pressing. Like, so why is it not opening? Like, and then, do you know why it wouldn't open? Because the reason why it wouldn't open was because what I was pressing wasn't my key. It was one of those double white lion bars, and I was just pressing the chocolate with my thumb through the pants of my Snickers pants, that flappy pocket, and that's why it wouldn't open, because I was pressing a lion. Did I say a Snickers bar? It was a white lion bar anyway that I was pressing, trying to unlock the doors, and it wouldn't work for some reason. Why would it not work when you press a lion bar to open your doors? Know what I mean? You think it would work, like. But yeah, so that's that part of it anyway, right? So then I got into the van. I was driving up the road, and I thought, oh yeah, yes, my windscreen isn't going to be manky anymore. I can spray the windows. So no, sorry, no, I'm a spoofer. I'm a pure lying spoofer. So I filled the water up on the way up the road, and then about 3 hours later, when I was passing back that way again, I stopped and got the food. But yeah, sorry. So when I left the first time after I filled up the window washers, I was going up the road and I was like, oh yeah, the windscreen is manky. I'll be able to spray it now and clean it. Drive along anyway, pull the yoke back and I was hurting my throat. It's probably hurting the van's throat as well. But I was doing that and nothing was coming out of it. So I was like, that's weird. It probably has to work down through the system or something like that. It's not spraying anything. There's a I was like, why won't? And then when I got up a bit more, like I was slowing down, and I was like, maybe I'll try now. Yeah, I was just driving along, and it was, and then I get up and I was trying to press it again. It was kind of, I was just trying to press it little bits to see would that free it up, but it must have been clogged up or something. So I went around for hours anyway, working away, and every few minutes. I thought I'm going to end up burning out that motor or something, so I just stopped, and then it just started working about 5 minutes before I got back to that petrol station where I got the food. So yeah, so I went and got the food, blah, 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 came out. Why the fuck did I? Oh yeah, I'm after telling you the two things now. So there was one bit about the pressing the lion bar, and then the other bit was about what was the other bit about? So yeah, you know that now anyway. So that's okay. I was thinking as well about a story that doesn't really have any relevance, but it was just funny, right? So me and one of the boys a couple of years ago, we were working for a company, delivering to houses, right? So there was two of us in the van together, whereas it's usually like one person or whatever, but there was two of us on this occasion. So we got a cunt of a run. It was down around Ennis and everywhere else. Now, that sounds fine, but it was just all over the place, and it was starting to get late and dark, and it was lashing rain, and it was horrible. Now, it was like dusky kind of when we first went out. Anyway, so we had all the deliveries in the van, And we pulled up to this house. So there was a list of deliveries that we had to do. We'll just say 15 or 20 deliveries that we had to do. And we pulled up to this house anyway, and there was a man out the back doing like cutting hedges or something like that, right? No, it was, as I said, it was starting to get dark, and he was out cutting these hedges, and I was thinking like, why is he out cutting hedges so in the pitch dark, like, you know? So that was grand. And he came out anyway, and he took the delivery, and he goes, lads, come here, you don't have a second delivery for me, do you? We were like, I don't know. And he was like, you might have it there. Do you want to check? So I was like, yeah, grand. So I had a look around anyway, I checked, and I was like, no. And I said, is it the same name? Like, and he was like, oh, it is, yeah. So I was like, all right, no, checked around. No, don't have a delivery for that same name. That was grand. So I can't remember what I was doing, but I was in the passenger seat and the other fella was driving. And when I finished doing the delivery, my friend was driving and he was sitting in the driver's seat. And so I walked over and the passenger door of the van was open. So I was just on the way over to that, and I was doing something facing him so that the fella who I was delivering to couldn't see me behind me. And so he was kind of sneering out, like looking at me, kind of smiling, thinking like I'm messing and your man behind me can't see me. Next thing, his face just totally changed. I was like, looking at him thinking, shit, is your man after catching me messing or whatever the fuck? I look back, your man was just on the ground like a fucking chalk line. No, I didn't think out of a murder investigation thing. It was just like, this fella was just behind me like that, like a big chalk line, like one of them ones. And I was like, Jesus, are you all right? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was like, you sure now? He said, you have to take some fall area. And he was like, yeah, no, I'm grand. I just tripped over something there. I was like, all right. So he got up anyway, and he kind of knew I was going to knock that fucking thing. He got up and he kind of limped a little bit and like walked back into the house. So when he went into the house, so I got into the van and I sat into the van. I was like, fuck, was it a bad fall? Because I didn't see it. And he was like, yeah, man, he bounced off the ground. Jesus. And he said, but he's all right anyway. So it's the main thing anyway. Next thing, so we were parked beside the house, kind of facing, Jesus, I don't know how to explain it. The house was there, like, and we were kind of parked here, like, facing past the house where we were. And your man just rocks out the side door of the house, just with his big hedge trimmer thing again, just strolls past. I'm thinking, like, he bounced off the ground. He's just straight out again, cutting the hedges, right? That was fine. That's the funny part now, right? That your man bounced off the ground in front of me and then went out and cut the hedges. The next part is not funny. The next part is just stupid. So we went around doing all the deliveries anyway. It ended up getting way later than we should have even been working, lashing out of the heavens, pitch dark. Got to about our third last delivery and we pulled into the house for our third last delivery. Where was it? The exact same house. Why didn't we know it was the exact same house? Because it was in the wife's name, not in the husband's name. So we could have done the two deliveries at once, but instead we did a big, massive fucking circle of deliveries and then got back to that delivery again and then had to go on again. We were working till about 12 o'clock at night. Stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I just said I'd tell you that. Yeah, so I was talking about, I feel like I'm very rushed or something. I'm not in any panic. But I just wind it down a little bit and peel it back a small bit. Chill out. Put on a bit of Bob Marley, you know what I mean? Slow it down. Yeah, I feel like I was kind of blasting through them stories. So I hope I didn't fly through it too quickly. But yeah, I'm so I was talking about the chips that I got in that petrol station the other day, right? And how I need to stop. I'm picking my nail now, and that's going to end up coming through on the recording. But I'm talking about how I keep on eating crap out of delis and shit like that. And like last week now, in fairness, I brought lunches and breakfast, kind of, I was making like overnight oats and stuff. And like in fairness, I brought them every single day for 4 days, for 3.5 days. Do you know, because I only brought breakfast one of the mornings. But like, and then this week I just didn't do anything. Do you know, I just got to Monday and I was like, why is it so hard to just stick to a plan that you make? I can't understand it. And I was there today then, and I got, what did I get? I think I just got a couple of sausages when I was getting a cup of tea this morning. There was sausages in the deli. So I just got, I did. I got 4 sausages in the deli, ate them, and then, I didn't stop at a shop for lunch or anything like that. So I was there a while ago, and I was on the way home, and I thought, I never got lunch today. Thinking like I'm a bit hungry. I'm a bit hungry, and I was thinking, but I'm going cooking dinner now today because I got stuff for the dinner yesterday, but never ended up cooking it. Anyway, that's besides the point. Got shake dog. It was unreal. So I'm a greedy bastard, basically, is what I'm saying. I don't know what it is. I just want to eat all the time. No, not even all the time. No. That's the wrong way of saying it. But I always have to have something. I always have to have something to drink, or bag of potatoes, or a bar, or something. I don't think I can go like an hour without having something. Just anything at all. And it doesn't matter what it is, but something to just stimulate me or whatever it is. And I don't know. I just think it's the weirdest. I don't know. Is that normal or what? But like, I'd be there sometimes, like, and I'd have nothing with me. I'd have whatever I had with me or whatever I just got in the shop is gone, and it'll be like an hour or something like before I'm stopping again. So I'd be like, right, I'm going to put a chewing gum into my mouth. And that way then, my mouth will be minty and I won't want a cup of tea. I won't want to stop for this or that. I'm trying to deter myself from just eating bullshit that I don't want or need. And so my battle every day, it's a stupid battle, but it's still a battle, is what to have for dinner, which I already mentioned in episodes. In one episode at least, I went into detail about it. But what I'll do is I'll ring my daughter and I'll say, Auntie, you'd like it for dinner today, love? And she'll be like, I don't mind. Like, are you sure now? Tell me and I'll pick up whatever you want. Like, and we'll have dinner, like, because then I don't have to pick. Do you get me? So that's my little hack. I won't have to pick. And I can't, for the life of me, do shopping at the start of the week and think, okay, we're going to have this thing on Monday, we're going to have this thing on Tuesday, we're going to have this thing on Wednesday, or else I can't even buy 5 or 7 meals or whatever it might be and think I'll just make them whenever throughout the week. Like, I'll have whatever on Monday, whatever on Tuesday, and I've 5 meals there, or 7 meals, or 6, or whatever it might be, and we'll rotate them, we'll make something different every day, blah, blah, blah. No. What'll happen is I'll get everything that I need to make all those dinners, and half it'll just go in the bin. And it'll just be like, it'll get to the day where I'm going to have a specific thing, and I might look at it and go, oh, yeah, I don't know, I'm not really feeling that today. And then I think, oh, what about the other thing? And I might have already had it in my head, oh no, I'll do that other thing now on Thursday. I'm like, she might as well just get a takeaway today. So it's just non-stop, like, non-stop. You just have to eat every day. And it's driving me mad. So I was there the other day and I said to my daughter, I was on the way home, and I says, I'm going to stop somewhere now, and like Dunn's or Aldi or somewhere like that, and I'm going to pick up something for the dinner. Do you know what you want? No, I haven't a clue. Like, right. So I was thinking to myself, what do I want? And I'll just tell her, this is what I'm cooking. I was thinking like, oh, what do I want? I don't know what I want. Do I want this? Do I want that? Oh, I don't know what I want. That was grand. So she went out to her friend and called to her friend's house actually. And I can't remember what I was doing. But anyway, so then I rang her after a while and I said, yeah, look, I'm going to have to go get something for the dinner. So do you know what you want? And she said, no, I'm after, my friend's mum is after offering me dinner. So I just had dinner here. I'm fine. I don't need anything. So I was like, yes, bonus, celebration. Because that means that I don't have to cook for her, right? But do you know what I had for my dinner? Because she had already eaten and I didn't need to cook dinner for her. So do you know what I cooked for myself? Nothing. That's what I had for my dinner. 0. Nil. Zilch. Just as like a bonus. Like, that's grand now, I don't have to cook. So I didn't even bother eating myself. Like, why am I putting myself through that just starvation just to not have to cook? Because I just hate it. I was there a while ago, as I was saying, and I was on the way home and I thought, I didn't have dinner today, or I didn't have lunch today, sorry. So I was thinking, sure, I stop somewhere and get no cheeseburger. And I was thinking, love a double cheeseburger. And all the things then were coming into my head. Love a double cheeseburger or the Paz Chipper. I love them. Love a double cheese. I was thinking, I'd love a double cheeseburger out of Hillbillies. Love them. And all these double cheeseburgers were just going through my mind. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just stop. And I was like, no, where am I going to get a double cheeseburger? So I was thinking, I'll stop at Supermax or something and I'll just get 2 of their cheeseburgers, because 2 Supermax cheeseburgers, order them with no onions, so they'll be stoned if I'm fresh. There's something about them. I don't know what it is. They're just beautiful. It's the burger sauce, I suppose. I'm just a cheeseburger fanatic. Love them, right? So I was thinking, yeah, I'll just stop and I'll get an old burger or something. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to be passing Supermax. So I stopped at Burger King. No, I'm going cooking dinner today, bear in mind. And I stopped at Burger King and got a bacon double cheeseburger meal. Large. At about... What time is it now? This was at about 4:30. I was like, oh, I'll get myself a large double bacon double cheeseburger meal. Because I didn't eat my lunch. I didn't have lunch today. So I was like... and that's how I justified it in my head. I was like, yeah, stop there and get yourself a meal and make sure now you still cook dinner in a while. So I'm already after having Burger King at about 4:30, and now I'm going to have to cook dinner. So I'm here now recording the episode, and then when the episode is finished, will I put on the dinner then? I don't know. Maybe. If not, then I will. I'll probably put on straight after the episode. Why can't I just be happy with the fact that I've dinner at home to put on, instead of being a greedy, fat, and just stop and get Burger King on the way home? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I had to interrupt the episode to let you know that I am very annoying. I got carried away in this episode so long talking about this fucking hour we're dating the same guy, and kind of past experiences that I had myself in relationships and stuff like that. Probably a little bit boring. Probably shouldn't have went into it that deep. Probably shouldn't have got carried away on so many tangents. If you don't want to listen to that or watch that, skip to 1 hour and 9 minutes. And I promise I won't do that anymore, because I just edited the episode there. Now, some people might find it interesting. I put in a few screenshots and stuff like that as well. But if you're not into that, if you're bored by it, flick to 1 hour and 9 minutes. My apologies. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Anyway, so if you watched last week's episode, you will know that I talked about, are we dating the same fucking cunt and bastard and guy, right? This fucking stupid Facebook page, which I posted a clip on my socials on... I think I posted it on all the socials, but yeah, it was only on the story of most of them, but it's on TikTok and it's on Instagram. And I got a good few comments on TikTok, some negative, some positive, some agreeing with me, some disagreeing with me. Fair enough. There's always going to be that. But what I also got was a lot of private messages from people, both male and female, right? I've had fellas coming on saying, I got put up in that app or that page, whatever it is. No reason to be, wasn't seeing anyone, just someone trying to cause trouble, blah, blah, blah. It really took a toll on my mental health, and other people like, oh, I was really struggling with it, and other people like, I was so embarrassed by it, and this and that. I got loads and loads of feedback from it, right? But the main narrative from people in my comments, right, and even a couple of people who mailed me as well, women, I think it was only women who kind of said, this page is here to protect women from domestic violence and other stuff, right? That's well and good. That's fair enough, right? it's brilliant if the page can prevent that, because obviously that's the worst thing in the world. You don't want that happening. You don't ever want to hear that happening, or anything like that. That shouldn't happen, right? That's perfectly fine. Fair enough. I understand that that's what the page is for, right? But the page isn't being used for that, right? And a good few people actually sent me screenshots of things that have been going on that page, right? And I forgot to actually mention this the last time as well, right? Do you know when I was saying that I was on Are We Dating the Same Guy? Yeah. So I actually came away from that and thought, you know what? Fuck this shit. And I went on to Facebook and I went in, create group, perfect. What's the name of your group? Are We Dating the Same Girl? And then I put Munster in brackets, right? Published the group. Now it was invite only, so no one could see this group at the time, right? So then it came up a list of all my friends who I wanted to invite to this group, right? And then I thought, I left my phone down for a little while. I thought I'll do that now in a while. Grand. And I sat down and thought about it. I was doing something or whatever, and I kind of had a thought about it. I thought, do you know what? I, like, most of the time, like, I've been put up in a group a couple of times, right? And to be honest, I don't, overall, most of the time, I couldn't give two fucks that I'm put up on it, right? But, like, I think I was on it 3 times, and, like, 2 of the times couldn't have gave a bollocks, couldn't have cared less. And one of the times it kind of affected me a little bit because it wasn't fair that I had been put up there because I'd no reason. No, the other 2 times as well, I wasn't seeing anyone. I wasn't dating anybody. There was no one who, one of the times that I got put up there, it was from that girl that I mentioned who said, oh, are you working? And all this bullshit, and barely even talking to her on Tinder. And then she decides to throw me up on that before we had even discussed meeting up or anything like that. But I could tell by the way she worded it, that was her, because, as you know from the last episode, I'm a detective, right? So, like, yeah, so I'm saying 2 out of the 3 times I didn't give a bollocks that I was put up on it, because I have nothing to hide, because I'm not dating anybody, because I'm not dating I'm not dating multiple girls, let alone one girl, right? So there was no reason for me to be put up on that page the times I've been put up on the page, right? If I'm seeing someone, I'm seeing someone, and that's it. That's how it is, right? So I know I don't have anything to hide, and others' opinion of me 9 times out of 10, I couldn't give a bollocks, right? Because I know that I'm the best friend that I can be. I'm the best father that I can be. I'm the best man that I can be. I do my best at my job. To the best of my ability, I do my job. So I know everything that I'm doing in life, I'm doing my best. So whatever anybody wants to say, or whatever anybody wants to think, no, 9 times out of 10, this is not all the time, because nobody's perfect or whatever. But I'm after learning, like, as long as I sound like I'm being pure fucking motivational here now, but I'm talking about myself. But if anyone wants to take anything from it, so be it, right? But that wasn't my intention when I started here. I'm saying, like, as long as I know I'm doing my very best, then nobody else's opinion ever matters. Because there's been times before in the past when I wasn't this strong-minded, and I was a bit more vulnerable to what other people thought about me and stuff like that, where someone would say to me, oh yeah, well, you're, like, I won't even bring up an example of what it might be, but where someone might say like, you're bad because of this, you're not good because of this, you could be better at this. And I'd be there beating myself up about it, thinking, yeah, they're probably right. Sure, what have I achieved? And, you know, and, like, just pure, like, beating yourself up. And then after a while I was thinking, hold on, that thing that person said isn't even remotely true, because I'm trying my best. Do you know, even if I didn't have a lot to give at the time of whatever it might have been that they were saying that I was bad at, or that they were criticizing me on, even if I didn't have a lot that I could do towards that, or if I didn't have a lot to give in that how do you even say it? Do you know, in that context or whatever it might be, I still knew that whatever I could give, I was given. Do you know? And so, yeah, I didn't really care about being put up on that. But the amount of people that do care about it made me think, fuck it, if men, sure, like what most of the women are saying, like, is that obviously, like, the stereotypical, like, oh, men, huh? What about men? Manly men. Do you know? Whereas it's 2026 now, and things are meant to be equal. And what I've learned through the years, like, obviously everyone was that narrow-minded years ago, thinking men are like this and women are like this, and that was and men should be doing this and women should be doing this, and that was the narrow-mindedness that everybody had years ago. And then we all learned and we all grew and we all developed that that's not true all the time. Men can do whatever they want and women can do whatever they want, and people are going to be people, and there's going to be good people and there's going to be bad people, regardless if they're a man or a woman. So if someone is going to go out cheating, a man or a woman is going to go out cheating. I know men and women who have cheated. Do you know? So whatever a man can do in that sense, a woman can also do. Do you know? But I think a lot of people on this page are still maybe narrow-minded in a sense of thinking like, oh yeah, but sure, it's just men who behave in this way. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's people who behave in that way, regardless if you're a man or a woman. So it's very unfair that there's this page where men can be plastered all over it, and they're saying like, oh, this person from here, any tea, and looking for the gossip. Yeah, look, I went into it all in the last episode. If you didn't hear that, go back and have a listen to it. I go into that bit a bit more in a bit more detail, right? But like, it's just not fair that the page is there to protect women. Women should be protected at all costs. I fully understand that. I fully agree with that. I'm not trying to say that that's not important. It's very important. But the problem is that there's people on these groups who are only there for the banter. They're only there for the laugh. I know loads of women that go home and sit down in the evening time or on the weekend or whenever their downtime is, and they'll sit down in their pajamas with a cup of tea or coffee or whatever it might be. The telly might be on in the background, and they'll be sitting down with a smile on their face, scrolling through this group, looking at what man is up there today and what scandal is there today. That's not what the group is for. Do you know what I mean? That group is for if somebody has a bad background or might be a danger or might be a massive red flag for a real reason. If someone is a big red flag for a real reason, then yes, fair enough. Tell the girl, warn the girl. Don't be coming in like, I saw someone sent me a picture, a screenshot from that group. A good few people have sent me screenshots from that group. One of them was somebody with a physical disability. And people were coming in the comments, anonymous females, obviously, because there's not men in that group, because only females are allowed into it. So there was females coming in, looking at this man with a physical disability and joking about his disability in the comments. Can you imagine if that was a woman? Can you imagine? I've seen people slagging men's weight, men's looks, their appearance, everything. If that was the other way around. Now, someone commented on one of my videos or one of my posts or something, and they said, oh, but sure, isn't there another group with men doing that to women? If there is, I haven't heard about it, and I don't want to hear about it, and it shouldn't exist. If it's being used the same way as this, are we dating the same guy? Because although I understand the concept of it, it takes a couple of bad eggs to ruin something like that. An example, so there's a page that I used to follow on Facebook. I might still, no, it's gone, I think, I don't know. But it was for The Simpsons, right? For memes for The Simpsons, and it was like Irish Simpsons memes, right? You could make a meme and you could post it in there, and loads of other Simpsons fans will see it, everyone react, great crack, blah, 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 right? So obviously I'm into editing things and posting online and getting reactions and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So I went on and made a few things, and I'd post them in the group, and then the admin would come and say, oh, well, no, this is not relevant to what this page is for. And it might just be because the reference that I made, or someone else, whoever created this meme, that the reference might relate more to music, we'll just say, or it might relate to something that's going on in America, or whatever it might be. So I was kind of like, this page, okay, it's called Irish Simpsons Memes, but isn't it for Irish people to make Simpsons memes regardless of the context, as long as it's within the boundaries and it's not, as long as it's okay, and it's not any bad jokes or anything that's been made. It's just silly nonsense about the Simpsons and adding an Irish twist to the humour or whatever it might be, as long as it's appropriate, right? So loads of people were saying like, oh, my meme got removed, this page is the joke, why don't people leave up things that people posted, whatever. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own group, and it's going to be called, I think I called it Ireland Simpsons Memes, right? So I think their one was Irish Simpsons Memes and my one was Ireland Simpsons Memes, or Simpsons Memes Ireland, or something like that. I just did my own variation, and I thought, right, if they want to be like that, I'm just going to create my own one, and all the stuff that I want to post and the people that I know that are good making funny memes or whatever, and they'll have a platform to post all that funny stuff, whatever. So that was grand. So it was going for a while, built up a little bit of a following. I was posting things, other people were posting things, going good, good laugh, everything, right? And then someone came in and started, it was after Caroline Flack died. Now, if anyone doesn't know, she died of suicide, right? I'm fully sure. She did, yeah. So then people came in and started making jokes about her death in there with Simpsons memes. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I started removing the posts. I think I might have posted something, maybe a status or something like that in the group. I said, lads, this group is for memes, for a laugh, for a joke. This is not for dark humour. Nowhere on this page in the description or anything like that says that this is for humour like that. I don't find that funny. Like suicide isn't a thing to be joked about. Like even like my father died of suicide 30 years ago. Do you know what I mean? So no, I'm not saying that it's a touchy subject for me because of that, but it's just not something that I find funny. Do you know? And like it's really sad about what happened to that girl. So I'm like, okay, don't be making memes about it and trying to make a laugh of it. Like literally happened there 2 days ago, and you're on trying to make a joke about it, right? So that's the perfect example of someone coming into a group that's intended for one thing, and that group was intended for the laugh, for like-minded people to make memes, make each other laugh, and get reactions and whatever it might be, make connections between people, whatever it might be, right? But those few people ruined the group. So I was like, you know what? And then they were coming in going, oh, you said that this group wasn't going to be like the other one and all this. I was like, yeah, but come on, like, show a bit of respect for the dead, and you know, that's not what it's for here, whatever. And eventually I was like, you know what, this is not worth it. It's funny, fair enough, the page has been funny, the memes, there's loads of funny stuff being posted here, but now these bad eggs are making this a nasty environment, and that's not something that I want to be a part of, or definitely not something that I want to create myself. So when I created that page, Are We Dating the Same Girl, I just thought to myself, before I even got a chance to invite anyone or anything like that, I was like, hold on, you're becoming part of the problem here. Don't do that, because like I was the very one to say how bad that page and how toxic that page was. So who would I be to add to it in the other sense and make something about women? Because there shouldn't be anything like that about women or men. So if the page is used for its intended purpose, that's fair enough. Now, I don't want to keep going on and on about it either, but it's just that I do have a lot to talk about, because when I was put up on that page, someone said about me, right? So someone posted about me on that page saying, oh, does anyone know him? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever it might be, right? Now, I don't know who posted it that time because there's nobody to narrow it down to, because there was nobody that I was dating or nobody that I was about to date or anything like that, because I don't know what I have to give somebody at the moment. I don't even have time to wipe my arse, let alone anybody else's arse, right? That's why I'm not out there. I'm not out there looking. I'm not on the apps. I'm not, I'm not throwing out the line and trying to see what's out there for me, because I feel like I'm not in the position right now for that. But yet, I'm being put up on this page as if I am out there doing that. And like, there's no reason, like the things people are commenting, saying like, the things that they're saying, they're like, where are you getting this out of? Like there was someone said, oh, I was seeing him before and he wouldn't give me his phone number. It's 2026. Why did they want my phone number? Right? If I'm saying, why did they want my phone number if it was, why did they want my phone number if it was something that was, so it must have been such a minimal thing between me and that person that I wouldn't give him my phone number. It must have been very, very early days where we were chatting on Tinder or Hinge or whatever it might be. And then they were like, oh, I'll just text you on your number instead. And then I was probably like, no, because we'll just chat here. Because maybe I wasn't sure about if I wanted to take that extra step and give my personal information over to that person, be it my phone number or more personal information, whatever it might be, if it was really early stages. Or I don't know, maybe I could have seen the person once or twice, I don't know, but I don't understand why I wouldn't have given it. So there must have been a good reason for it. Like, as I mentioned before on this, I barely ever drink. I do not take drugs. I've never taken a drug in my whole entire life, and I don't want to be with someone who does take drugs. It's not my thing. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't entertain me. I don't, even the whole banter around drugs, I just don't get it, because it's not something I'm interested in. I've lived my whole life without them, and they've been all around me growing up, and even in my adult life, they've been all around me where they weren't wanted, and it's just not the type of thing that I want around me or that I find entertaining, or that, like, definitely not that I want to be involved with somebody who is involved with that life. So there has been girls in the past that I've been talking to on the apps or whatever it might be, and then we might move on and add on Snapchat or Instagram or whatever it might be, and we'll be chatting there. And next thing you're kind of looking, going, fuck it, she's out every single weekend, twice, and then like scraping through the whole weekend, and then just barely getting up for work on Monday morning and going out. And like, everyone's entitled to a night out. That's fine. If people want to go out and take drugs or stay out partying all weekend, so be it. I don't judge them, but it's not the type of person that I want to be with. Do you know what I mean? So there has been times in the past where I have ghosted people. Like, that was another thing that was said. Like, oh, he ghosted me, blah, blah, blah. There must have been a good reason for it. I wouldn't just ghost somebody for no reason, because I'm not a bad person. I don't like to hurt people's feelings. I'll offer help to whoever I can offer help to, wherever, in whatever field I can. There's things there that I need to do for myself, and I don't do them. I put them off and put them off and put them off. I painted my daughter's room a couple of months ago now at this stage, right? Painted the room, did up the room, everything fine. There's a tub of paint that I used to paint her room sitting in my hallway. And I thought, I'll leave that tub of paint. It's one of them big ones. Is it a 10 litre one maybe? And I thought, I'll leave that in my hallway, and that will motivate me to paint my hallway, because that needs to be painted as well, right? And that tub of paint is still sitting in my hallway, and I'm walking past it every single day, multiple times, looking at it, going, really must do that. Really must paint this hallway. Oh, really must do that. And I'm not doing it, right? But whereas, if my friend or somebody that I was close to said to me, will you give me a hand painting at the weekend? I'll do it. I'll help out. Do you know what I mean? And I'd rather help somebody else than help myself. So I'm definitely not going to be going out there trying to hurt people or make them wonder, oh, why did he do this or why did he do that? So if I did do that, there had to be a very good reason for it. Or maybe they might have got smart over nothing and they thought like, okay, I don't deserve that. Fuck this shit. I'm not putting up with that because I know I deserve better than that because I don't treat people like that. Whether I'm after having a few drinks or whether I'm after having the worst day I've ever had in my whole entire life or this is going on or that's going on, I don't treat people badly. I don't speak to people in a bad way. I don't try to make people feel bad. I try my best not to do that ever. So I don't understand why people would think that or why people would say that. And the people who are saying it, there was obviously a reason that I treated that person in that way. So another thing about that group, right? So when I was posted in it, someone said, oh yeah, he's obsessed with my friend, right? About me. They said, he's obsessed with my friend. He's bald. Now, I used to be bald. But then I went away and spent €4,000 on the top of my head, so I'm not bald anymore, right? So I'm not bald, but I used to be. Exhibit A, right? So people who see that could be like, he's not bald, but he was bald. Go on, I'm listening, right? So he's obsessed with my friend. I think they said he shows up at her work or something like that, right? They were like, okay, he's bald. Okay, he's not bald, but he used to be. I'm listening, right? And then they were like, he works here and his profession outside of that is this, right? And only for they added those last two things on that do not relate to me in the slightest, someone was able to come back in and go, no, that's not the person you're talking about. That's such a person, or that's definitely not this fella about me. So can you imagine if they didn't add in those details about where this person worked or what this person's hobby / other job was, then people would just look and go, oh yeah, he used to be bald, that must be about him. And they think that I'm some fucking weirdo. Do you know what I mean? So it can be a very, very fucking toxic environment in that fucking group because people are just going to say things like, oh yeah, oh that must be that fella, type, and just put down the phone and forget about it, or go on and laugh at the next person who's been made fun of on it. Know what I mean? So it's totally wrong the way it's being used, and I don't give a fuck who tries to say that it's not. It is being used wrong. It's a toxic fucking place. And I'll show you, I have some examples as well of other things that were posted in that group which are totally fucking wrong, right? Someone posted in that group now, right? So there's always people out there, or there's always women who are worried. No, I'm sure there's men who are worried too, right? But you'd always hear of women being worried. And actually, do you know what? Women and men who are worried. I think my partner might be in contact with someone else, or might be looking at someone else, or is interested in somebody else, or there's something else going on in the background, right? So someone posted, so do you know the way, there's a lot of girls there and they'll go, oh, why are you friends with her on Instagram? I don't know why it sounded like I was from Cork. I'm not from Cork. But they'll be like, why are you friends with her on Instagram? And they'll be like, oh, I don't know, I just know her. Delete her. Look at the pictures she posts. Why she's always posting this and she's always posting that. I don't want you to be looking at that. Delete her, right? And there's women out there who'll make their fellas delete these girls because they might be attractive, or they might be just threatened by that person, and they'll make the man delete the woman, right? And then there's some fellas who just aren't allowed to be friends with women online at all, right? Regardless if they're childhood friends with them, or regardless if it's their friend's sister, or someone who they've been around all their life, or whatever it might be, right? So, like, it's very common for a fella to say to a girl, no, it's not right. I'm not saying by any means that it's right, but it'd be very common for a fella to say to a girl, why are you friends with all those fellas on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, whatever it might be, delete them fellas, right? Or it'd be very common as well, and not right, for a woman to turn around to a man and say, why are you friends with all those girls? Whereas they might go, oh, she's my friend, I grew up with her, that's my friend's sister, blah, 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 right? So for the person's partner to be friends with the opposite sex online is usually frowned upon by the partner, right? Not usually, but sometimes. So someone posted in this group, your opinions, ladies. Now, you are opinions, ladies, is what she actually wrote, right? Your opinions, ladies, if allowed. Now, she already knows that this is not something that you're supposed to be posting in this group, right? If allowed. What's the story when men follow more men on socials than women? I always look. Like, what has that got to do, first of all, right? What has that got to do with women's safety, if that's what this page is for, right? She even said on it, if allowed. So she obviously knows that that's not what the page is for, right? But it's just been used as a woman's social group where they can just chat and gossip and do whatever they want, right? So someone, a woman who has a bit of cop on by the looks of it, said, we need to stop finding problems with everything. How would one even be bothered by that? Which is true. Why would a girl be followed, or why would a girl be bothered if her fella is friends with more fellas online than girls? Is that not most girls' dream? That they're not looking at other women, it's just their friends, right? So I thought it was worse when it's all women. Seems to be a problem when they're following men as well. Are you saying he's gay or something? I don't really understand. That comment makes perfect sense. What is that girl's problem with fellas being friends with fellas? I don't understand it, right? And someone else said, I caught my ex cheating with men and it was always women he was adding and stuff, so wouldn't say that means much, right? This just goes to show like that this page is just, it's a social club for women, right? Another one. We should do a game. I'm going to know because this is a video. I have to pause it, right? We should do a game. Write the initials of your partner / fella that you're worried about or just in general, right? We should do a game and a laughing face. Write the initial of your partner or fella that you're worried about or just in general and 2 more laughing faces. A game now. So I don't understand how this game that's put up for the laugh protects women from abusive partners or whatever it might be, right? Or toxic partners or whatever, right? How does this game protect them from that? It doesn't. It's gossip. And that's what this page is used for a lot. I saw another comment saying, the only people I've ever seen put up in that group anyway is men who deserve it. How do you know they deserve it? You don't know all men. You don't know every man that's been put in that group. What you do know is that the women in the group have something bad to say about every man that's ever posted in that group, right? And you know why that is? Because every woman who's commenting on that, it's either the fella's ex, the fella's ex's friends, or somebody who's associated with that man through the woman that he used to be with and isn't with anymore. So they're hardly going to, like 9 times out of 10, when a relationship breaks down, the woman or the man will always have something bad to say about the ex because it didn't work out. They're not in a relationship anymore, and most people don't turn around and say, "Oh, my ex missus or my ex fella, they were actually decent people." There always seems to be this blame of like, "Oh, we broke up because he was this, and we broke up because she was that." So the opinions that you're getting are from people who were or are directly linked to someone who was romantically involved with that person and the relationship broke down, and now they're on throwing comments about them online. You're not like, and then sometimes you might get someone who actually knows that man on a personal level who was never in that relationship bubble that he was in, so they'll give a genuine feedback on that person. They'll say, oh, this man goes out and works and does this and does that. He's no drama. He's no trouble. Blah, 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been called toxic before by a girl that I was with. She used to tell me that I was the most toxic person ever, right? Now, this girl used to, so I was working, right? I'd be out working all day long. And then I'd come home then, I'd collect her from home. Now, she wasn't working, right? And I'd collect her, and then I'd come home and I'd collect my daughter, and we'd have food or whatever we'd do, right? But what she used to do is she'd go and spend all her money and then have no money for when she comes with me. And then it kind of started to become a problem. I didn't have much money. I was supporting myself and trying to help her bits. No, I wasn't fully supporting her, but I was helping her out as well with stuff like that. When she had no money left, I'd help out. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't a long-term relationship where money is all the one or anything like that. It wasn't a very long thing at all. So it shouldn't have been like that, you know, and it wasn't to the point where people's incomes become one, or where it's a kind of a family unit where a man is kind of expected to do that, or the woman or whoever is bringing in the most money will help out the other person, or whatever it is. It was nowhere like that, right? So it was always like, she'd be like, oh, I'm giving up the fags. And I'd be like, oh, great, that's good, because if someone smokes, that's fair enough, but like, I don't like the smell of fags, and I'd rather if my girlfriend didn't smell like fags, right? But I'll deal with it. It's smoking. It is what it is. But if someone doesn't smoke, it's a bit of a bonus, right? But I would be with someone who smokes, and I have been with someone who smokes, and it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just like, if someone says, I'm going to give up smoking, then I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to go, oh, great, you should do that. Do you know? And then it came to a point like where, yeah, so she'd have all her money spent, whatever it was, and then it became a problem because I found myself getting short. Because as I said, I wasn't making an awful lot at the time, and it bills and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So I'd always find myself running short as well. And I kind of said it to her then one day. I was like, you're going to have to start being a bit more careful with your money, because I can't support us. I can't support us all the time. Do you know, you're going to have to try and support yourself a little bit. I wasn't asking for her to support me in any sense. I was going to say, I was saying, like, you're going to have to try and support yourself a little bit. I'll help you out still, but like, can't do everything, and I can't give you everything. Do you know what I mean? So one day then she actually admitted to me, she was like, admitted. She said, yeah, well, to be honest, like, and she wasn't even trying to be smart. She was just being honest. She says, to be honest, like, I kind of do just spend all my money when I get it, because I know you're just going to have money when I go over to your house anyway. I'm like, okay, well, that's wrong. Spending the money knowing that you don't have to worry about having money. You don't have to worry about feeding yourself. I'll feed you, sure. So, like, do you know what I mean? And then, right, so she'd have given up the fags, whatever it was, and then she'd have like a bad day, or something will happen or whatever, and she's like, oh, I want fags now, will you buy me a box of fags? I'm like, no. I'd say, like, you're meant to be giving up the fags. You spent all your money, and you want me to go spend 20 quid on fags for you. Do you know? And while you're being a goal as well. Like, do you know, it's not as if everything was fucking rosy in the garden either, like, because it wasn't. And then it gets like, oh, I'm stressed out, go buy me fags, will you? I'm like, no, fucking, you said you're giving them up. You're spending all your own money on them, and now you want me to buy you fags. And then you're going to be telling me that I don't do enough, and I don't blah, 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 whatever it is, and that I don't help you out, and blah, 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 and all this. You're going to forget about this tomorrow, like. And then because I won't give her the money to buy the fags, that's me, in her head, that was me controlling her and not letting her smoke. And she couldn't smoke because I wouldn't allow her to smoke. And that's the way that she'd make me out to other people. So that was me now being the most toxic person ever, because I was having to support her. And then when I chose not to support her for something that's fuck all got to do with me. Like, she's like, oh, I'm giving up the fags. Great, yeah, give up the fags. Perfect. And then it's like, oh, no, I'm not giving up the fags. Buy me fags there, will you? Fuck off. Get your own fucking fags if you're going to be a goal about it, like. Do you know? I've no problem at all helping out my partner if I'm in a relationship or something like that. But it has to be both ways. Know what I mean? I used to not know my worth in not even my worth. I sound like Marilyn Monroe or something, but I used to not realise that certain things were wrong that I used to have to put up with, or that in ways that I used to be treated. I used to think like that maybe I deserved to be treated like that, or I wasn't a good enough partner to be treated in a nice way. But then when I was with somebody who did treat me nice, I was kind of like, hold on, this is how I'm supposed to be treated. Do you know? Because of the type of person I am, I don't behave in a way, or I don't treat someone in a way for me to be treated the way that I've been treated at times, right? So, and that took a lot for someone to actually, I suppose it is knowing your worth, like, isn't it? It does sound like a little bit more, it does sound a little bit like Marilyn Monroe, but if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, know what I mean? With my little dress blown up in the drain thing over in America or somewhere. Lads above, I'm after blabbing on, I'm after talking about that. Are we dating the same guy a lot, didn't I? A long time. Now I'm taking a drink because people have told me when I take an unannounced drink, they keep thinking that their Bluetooth is disconnected. So I'm going to hide behind the microphone here and I'm going to take a sup of this Coke Knot. And I'm just going to gather myself a little bit, because I feel like I went off in a tangent there now, but I hope I kind of wrapped up. I know I opened up one or two topics or bits of conversation. Why was I looking up there like we're distracted? And maybe I didn't tie up that particular one, right? But as I said, going back to that fucking stupid group, just, you know, they're underslating people's physical disabilities, their weight, their appearance, everything else, right? And trying to play games, right? So there's another one here, right? 1 minute now, and I just check. Now, this is in that group, right? So someone posted in that group, do I warn the girl who's just started seeing my ex about him or not? And if I do, how do I go about it? What are your thoughts? Right? So that's fine. That's somebody worried for another girl's safety or another girl's mental health who it might be. Now, if that person is a danger or is liable to hurt that girl mentally or physically, and this girl thinks it's warranted to warn that other girl, it can be a tricky situation. I understand that, because it's going to look like, oh, the jealous ex is telling me that I shouldn't date the fella that she was with, and of course she's going to say that, and blah, 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 right? Now, if that's a genuine question and she's not like trying to warn that girl for any malicious reason or anything like that, then that's perfectly fair enough. If she's genuinely concerned for that other girl's welfare, that's perfectly fair enough for to post something like that in the group, right? But what someone said, like someone then commented and said, definitely not. She would just think the other woman was jealous and wants to sabotage the relationship, right? Which is true. But what I can't understand is, like, there's girls posted in that group going, what's the story with this fella? And then his ex is coming in going, oh, go away with him, he's only this and he's only that. And then the girl is going, oh yeah? Oh, fuck it, so I'll leave it off. But whereas that girl is after hitting the nail on the head, it's jealous girls and stuff come and toxic people coming in saying things that don't need to be said or whatever. Oh yeah, so the reason I went into that girl who called me toxic or whatever, right, and used to do all this shit with milking me dry for my fucking money and spending her own money, and because she knows I'm going to fucking feed her and fucking everything else. If I saw her on one of these fucking sites, if there was a women's one and I saw her on it, I wouldn't comment that on it, right? Because for one, it was a while back. She might not be like that anymore. For two, I don't hold grudges against people, because if the longer you hold a grudge or hate in your heart or fucking anything like that for somebody, that's going to fucking eat away at you from the inside. Know what I mean? Because if you see that person in town or something like that, you have to, your brain or your whatever it is has to activate and go, oh, there's that cunt. And you have to put up this thing, and your body has to kind of go into this whole like anger mode. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you can let it go because that person doesn't matter to you anymore, or you're over what's after happening, then you can just let it go. And I don't even know if after fucking up that sentence, but or that this whole thing, but yeah, like it's tougher for you to feel anger or hate towards someone. It's tougher for your body and your it'll ruin your day, like, by hating somebody else, or by, do you know, because then you have to see them and you have to hate them when you see them, and then, do you know, you bump into them or you hear their name mentioned and it bothers you, or whatever, or you hear they're doing good and you're like, oh, fuck them, why are they doing good? Why have they got that promotion or that job, or why have they got that nice car? Fuck that person, I hate that person. Do you know what I mean? What, like, that uses up your positive energy and has you concentrating on something negative every time that person is seen or brought up or whatever it might be. And that affects your day and affects your life. So if you can just let it go, then let it go. And just think, okay, I'm not with that person anymore. That person doesn't affect my life anymore. The stuff that they put me through doesn't affect me anymore on a daily basis. I might be more cautious of people because of it. Might not be a bad thing because you're not going to be made a fool of again. But let it fucking go. Do you know what I mean? If as I said, if I saw that girl anywhere, I'm not going to come in and comment all the negative things that happened when we were together, because when we together was ages ago, and she might have worked on herself. She might have sat there and thought, geez, I shouldn't have treated him like that. She might have thought, geez, those bad things that I said about him or those names I called him weren't necessarily true. I wonder how he's feeling. Maybe I won't treat people like that anymore. Right? And I'm not perfect either. Nobody is perfect. Everyone has said things or did things in a relationship or whatever, or treated someone in a certain way that they might not want to be treated. But you have to, like, you have to own that as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Own up to it and just don't be like that anymore, and try and make your peace with it. And don't carry on being like that towards other people, right? I feel like this episode's got very fucking deep. This is meant to be a comedy podcast, but yeah. So I'm not sure if I've even wrapped everything up in what I was saying, but look, it's just that there's so many things in my fucking head to try get out, and I'm getting confused, I'm getting taken away on tangents and everything else, but I hope I've got a bit of a point across about that fucking page, because it's wrong. Another one, anonymous member in that group. Okay, ladies, let's go. Last 4 digits of his number. And then those eyes, not the eyes, what to be looking over that way, the haunty eyes, whatever, them chancy gamey eyes. Like, okay, ladies, let's go. Last 4 digits of his number. And if you, like, that's just causing fucking trouble. Because if your fella's number or your missus number, or, well, no, fellas, it's about fellas, ends in 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to make you sit at home then on edge going, hold on, his number ends in 1, 2, 3, 4, and these women are on fucking playing games with him. Do you know what I mean? How has that got anything to do with women's safety? Nothing at all. Like, it's just like they're out there going like, I have no suspicions, or there's like, I was talking to a girl and I said this, I mentioned this. I said, it's a girl I know. And I said, look, on my episode of the podcast, I talked about that fucking page and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, to be honest, if I'm ever arguing with anyone or whatever, I'll just throw their fellow up in it. I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, or if someone is annoying me, I'll just put them up in it and just cause trouble. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, so yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there with that conversation anyway, because no matter what I say, I'm never going to win because there's too many people there that are going to be against me, and there's too many people that won't agree with me, and the majority of people who do agree with me is way smaller than the majority of people who don't. So why did I say majority twice? That's not fucking right. But look, I'm slow cunt, so yeah. Just take no notice of me sometimes, but take notice of me other times though. So yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so right. I hope I didn't breathe into the microphone too heavy there. This is a longer episode, which people are going to be happy about. This is the extra long wheelbase high roof episode. What's this episode going to be called now? I don't know. But people are saying like, oh, I love the episodes, love the podcast. I'm getting some brilliant feedback. There's the last episode, I really, really pushed it for people to post in the comments. And the amount of comments that I got on it was unreal. So, will you just comment? I'm not going to go on about it again now, but every comment, every like, every subscription, bell notification, 5-star rating on Spotify, it means everything to the podcast performance, because I'm getting new listeners all the time, and I want to keep building it, and I want to keep growing my audience, and I'm basically saying all the same things over and over again here. I'm going to say, I want to get more followers on it. I want to build my audience. I want to grow the podcast. I want to get more views. That all means the same thing to me. And I don't know why I was going to categorize it in all different ways, but that's what I want to do. I feel like there's something else that I want to talk about, a lighter subject. And I'm not going to get that heavy on something I don't think, or deep into something on an episode. I'm not going to try anyway. If it comes up organically or naturally, then fair enough. But I'm not going to come in here and try to talk about stuff like that too much. I want this to be lighthearted. I want this to be a comedy podcast. I want it to stay as a comedy podcast. But there's no harm in talking about real life things either. Do you know what I mean? And things that might benefit others. And there's things there that I've mentioned, and people were like, Jesus, man, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's nobody talking about that. And it might be just even something small, but they're just like, I never heard it like that before. I'm not this fucking mad, smart, intelligent person, but it's just when someone hears someone else normal is going through the same thing as them, or something else has happened to them, or their mind is the same way as my mind, it means a lot to them for it to be highlighted and for them to know that they're not an alien. Do you know what I mean? Now, if they are an alien, that's fair enough too. If they're 8 foot tall and their body is grey and they're like pure skinny and all, they might be an alien. So AdBlue. Do you ever fill up AdBlue at the little pump, usually in Circle K? Do you ever see that little bullshit fucking pump? It's like a diesel pump, but it pumps AdBlue. Why in the name of God is it so slow? Like, I was there the other day and I was putting in AdBlue. I put in the AdBlue pump, started pumping it, and I thought, I'm bored. So I got out my phone and I started watching the Titanic, right? And it got to the part where the ship sank. Do you know that part of the Titanic? And I looked and it was 9:40 after going into the van of AdBlue. It takes way too long to pump it. Why is it in a little bullshit skinny nozzle? The top of it is like the size of a Twix. Why don't they put it into the big truck nozzle and just whack all the AdBlue into the tank? Why don't AdBlue tanks have a bigger... And it's not pig piss either. I looked it up. People think, oh, AdBlue, it's pig piss. No, it's not pig piss. I looked it up. So, it's a common misconception, apparently. I think that's how you say it, isn't it? Common misconception? I think so. Oh my God, I'm after forgetting the best story ever. But before I tell you that story, right? When I was on the way down the road, a while ago, and I stopped. Was it when I stopped? Anyway, when I stopped somewhere, I can't remember what it was. I was talking to a lad from up the country, Badger, right? Him and his friend, Dan, are after starting their own podcast. So he's watching my podcast, and he's giving me positive feedback on my podcast. Brilliant, right? But he's after starting his own podcast with his friend, and he says to me, give it a listen. So I said, fuck man, I didn't even realise that you started it. I'll give it a listen now. So it's called Red Line Republic, And anyone who's into cars or the car scene or just finds that stuff interesting, it's definitely worth a listen. They have, is it 2 full episodes and then like a kind of an introduction episode at the start? It's only a short one, the first one. Is it 2 or 3 episodes? Fucking hell, I can't remember now. I think there might be 3 episodes online on Spotify and YouTube. So yeah, if you're into cars and stuff like that, and they're just kind of bantering as well, 2 lads that are friends, talking about cars mostly, and then just bantering back and forth as well. And I think it's going to go well for them. They seem like they're naturals at it. They're way. I listened to their first episode and I was there going, how in the name of fucking God are they so confident? And why was I sitting there going, well, yeah, episode 1 anyway, haha. Do you know what I mean? And the 2 boys then are like, yo, well, and talking about like, oh, we're going to touch on that subject. I didn't say that until about last episode. Do you know what I mean? I was like, boys, I said it to him. I said, man, you're fucking naturals at this, like, so keep it going and give them a follow on their socials and stuff. I'd say it's going to go well for them. Yeah, do give them a listen or a watch or whatever you want to do, right? Red Line Republic. So, the main story that I thought I was going to tell today, I forgot about it, right? I posted it on my Snapchat, and while I was recording the Snapchat, I actually said in it, oh, fuck it, I should have kept this for my podcast, because, no, I don't know, because it was just after happening when I recorded the video, so I was still laughing about it. So yeah, I suppose it would have been odd one if I saved the story from now or posted it then. But so I was in traffic the other day, right? I was actually stopped at a red light. So I was stopped. No, someone commented on Spotify, and they said that when I'm describing things, that people who are listening on audio don't have the full description of what's going on, because sometimes I might say, oh, it was like this or that or whatever, and I might describe something with my hands, but there isn't much I can do about that. It's kind of the nature of the beast if you're not watching the video. That happens to me with other podcasts as well, where they'll be explaining something. But the beauty of Spotify now is that there's actually videos on Spotify too. So if there is a part of it that you want to see or whatever it might be, or if I say I'm going to put something up on the screen or whatever, you can actually just click into Spotify and change it to video and watch maybe that part that you don't understand in that way, because that's kind of the only way that it'll come across properly. I understand it's a bit confusing sometimes when I'm explaining something and the audio listeners don't get it as well as the video viewers. So I'll try be a bit more mindful about that. But there is just going to be some things that fall through the cracks. And why was I doing all this as if I'm at a business meeting? See, I even said that now, and they're going to be like, doing all what? Like you're at a business meeting, doing all what? But I was kind of putting my hands together now, like Mr. Burns, a little bit kind of excellent, but not excellent. Like I was kind of barely doing it, so I was kind of just doing grand. Do you know that kind of way? Grand. Or like, that's all right. Do you know, it's not excellent, it's just like, all right. So I was stopped at a stop sign here, right? This is not a stop sign, a red light. So there's the yellow box, right? So I'm to go up right. Actually, I'll explain it to anyone who is from Limerick, right? I was coming down off of Pennywell towards the A1 bar, and I was going up the Dublin Road because I was going to turn a left to go down the Pat Healy Road, right? So I was coming down from Pennywell. I was at the traffic lights at the end of Pennywell, and the yellow box is there, the big massive yellow box, right? And you kind of have to go slightly right to go onto the Dublin Road on the junction, right? So there was 2 cars in the yellow box, and all the cars ahead of them to the next traffic light that you have to turn left to go to the Pat Healy Road or straight to go up by Frank Hogan's. All them cars were stopped the whole way down along as far as the A1 bar, and there was 2 cars in the yellow box, right? So I was looking and I was thinking, why are they out in the yellow box? And I was like, they obviously misjudged it. That traffic was obviously there when their light was about to go red. So they took a chance and went out into the yellow box and thought, surely them cars are going to move now because our light is after going, and that light has been red because all the cars have been stopped. So we're going to wait here, blah, 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 whatever. They got stuck in the yellow box, right? That's fine. So the light went green. My light went green. So I thought, oh, the car still stopped. And there was a gap. So I thought, okay, I'm going to pull over there because now they're surely going to move because those two people got stuck in the yellow box. So that means this line of traffic has been there for a minute because my light is after going green now and their light went green when they got stuck in the yellow box. So how long can that line of traffic sit there for? So I thought, okay, I'm going to take a chance. So I went out into the yellow box behind those two cars that were already in the yellow box. So blocked it up fully, right? Next thing, the flow of traffic going up and down that I was fully blocking their lane were starting to go. So a fella came down towards me, a man now, I'm going to say he was early 50s, right? And he was straight away on the warpath. Like, because from a mile away, I could see him and he was kind of, I could tell by the way that he acted that he was like, oh, look at them in the yellow box, they're in the way, they're in the wrong. He held his hand on the horn. I could see his two hands like this. I could see his fingers like sticking up over the top. Held his two hands on the horn. Right? So the first car in front of me kind of jolted off and got out of the way, right? And then the second car started kind of moving slowly out of the way because he was just still just holding his hand on the horn, right? Or as one of the boys used to say that I used to work with, he was bibbing the hooter. Bibbing the hooter, right? So he was bibbing the hooter and I was at a big fucking angle now blocking up this whole yellow box. And your man went, and I was like, do you know what? Fuck him. I'm not moving out of the way now with that attitude. If he came down and edged towards me, I would have thought, oh, fuck, I'm blocking him. I better move out of his way. It's not fair for me to be blocking him. I shouldn't be here, right? This line of traffic now, bear in mind, was still stopped. So I couldn't go anywhere, right? I could have swerved and went out of that man's way and still been in the way of maybe someone else, but out of his way. But because of how he was behaving, I was like, fuck him now. It's not my fault I'm here. This is a total mistake. You make judgments when you're driving sometimes, and sometimes they're wrong, and you get stuck out in the middle of a yellow box, right? Grand. The other car in front of me jolted and moved as well, right? And the man was still holding his hand on the horn. I was looking directly at him, so the angle that my car was at, I was this way, and he was coming down towards me. So his bonnet was basically facing my wing. That's like my driver wing. His bonnet was like up against my driver wing pretty much, right? And he was still there holding his hand on the horn. So I was just looking out the window at him, looking into his eyes. And he was there and he starts putting up his hands, doing all this kind of bruh kind of a look. Do you get me? So I thought, I'm not reacting to that now because this is not pissing me off. This is actually a perfect thing now where I could have let that really, really piss me off. Even though I thought, look at this cheeky cunt blowing the fucking shit out of me because I made a mistake and I'm stuck in the yellow box, right? I understand there's sometimes that I might get annoyed because someone is stuck in the yellow box. I made a judgment. I got it wrong. It wasn't dangerous by any means. All the cars were stopped. I just made a bad judgment, right? Stopped in the yellow box. So he comes down, beeping the horn. So I thought, I'm not stooping to his level now. I'm not going getting pissed off. I know I'm in the wrong, but he's being obnoxious and I'm not putting up with it. Beeping or whatever. So I just looked at him. I just gave him a thumbs up, right? Because he did the whole bruh, and I just gave him a thumbs up as if to say, all right, bud, you can freak out all you want. I'm not going to react to it. And I just sat there with my two hands on the steering wheel and my chin was just like up against the steering wheel. And I was just looking at him as if to say, I'm not moving with that attitude. I was going to wait for the light to go green or whatever it was, right? So then he just adjusted and swerved out around my car slowly. And he kept looking into my car the whole time while he was doing this manoeuvre. And he was giving me these mad screw faces or whatever. And then he did the whole thing with his hands again. So I remember a meme that I saw where it says, if you're in traffic and somebody pisses you off, instead of giving him the middle finger, give him a thumbs down. And that came into my head. And I thought, I'm doing this now straight away before he gets out of my sight. And I just gave him a thumbs down. His face, he was just looking at me. And as he was driving past me, he was just kind of looking at me. And I could see his face kind of getting angrier. And he just kind of overtook me and kept going. There was a younger girl in the car with him. And the reason I found it so funny, because I was just imagining him going down the road a small bit and saying to whoever's in the car, fucking cheeky cunt, you see him? Give me a fucking thumbs down. Who even does that? And I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and it made my day. And I really recommend that you do that the next time someone is being obnoxious in traffic. And no, fair enough, I was in the wrong, right? I was in the wrong. Yeah, grand. But when he was being totally obnoxious towards me, I'd say something if I swerved and I was dangerous in what I did or whatever. It was just stupid. I was just blocking the way. So try it the next time. Instead of getting riled up, instead of escalating the situation and one person is up at 100 and you're at 10, don't go up to 100 to them. Give them a thumbs down. They might laugh. They might calm down. But then again, I don't know. So, yeah, if they get more aggressive, then just say sorry or something because, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, don't take my advice. Do whatever you want. But I just thought it was hilarious anyway. So now, this episode is way longer than the other ones. So, enjoy. And, yeah, follow all the socials. Walshunit at Walshunit on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. What's the one I always forget? Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. TikTok is Walshunit41. Oh, yeah. And then YouTube as well. And then this podcast is on Spotify as well. You're obviously listening or watching it on YouTube or Spotify, so I don't need to tell you that. But you know now, don't you? Don't you know now? Don't you know? So, yeah, that's to do. Give me a follow and give me feedback. Comment. You bunch of unitics. And do you like being called unitics? Is that okay? Can I call you that? You little unitic. Anyway, episode complete. Episode 5. 5? Yeah. So, we're going well, aren't we? So, yeah, anyway. Thanks for listening or watching. Thanks for commenting and subscribing and all the positive feedback. And you're brilliant. And you know who else is brilliant? Me. And after realising it, I'm brilliant. I'm a podcaster. Know what I mean? So yeah, thanks very much. Cheers. See you in a while. Good, absolute physical look.
The unit.